Hey, thanks for checking out The Solid Verbal. Now would be a great time to subscribe to the channel for college football content all off season long.
Let's talk about A&M.
Okay.
Let's talk about A&M. The common thread here being willingness to change, right?
Mm-hmm.
A&M 97th in points per drive on offense, 34th points per drive allowed on defense. They went 5-7. The only team of the five that we're going to talk about today that missed a bowl, didn't go to a bowl game at all. So context is very important. A&M saw an incredible infusion of talent via the 2022 class, via the portal. That was the dominant narrative coming into the 2022 season, at least in the SEC West. Best recruiting class of all time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Sure.
Beyond that, though, the reality, if you look back a year, is that A&M was really beat up in 2021. And the hope was that they'd be a little luckier on that front in 2022. They most definitely were not. Okay? No. They were very banged up again in 2022. Max Johnson and Haynes King both got hurt. That's how we got Connor Weigman, which I happen to like Connor Weigman a lot through 8 touchdowns, no picks. I love Connor Weigman. I love regular Weigmans. I just got my grocery order earlier today.
Not a sponsor, could be.
Not a sponsor, very much could be.
Yeah.
Right? So that maybe that was a bit of silver lining. You don't like seeing guys go down, but they found Connor Weigman. I think he's probably the guy moving forward. But outside of that, you had Anais Smith going down on September 24th for the season. That was just a crushing loss because of his versatility within this offense. The interior line, Dan, very, very beat up. We had some guys going down for the year up front as well. Another kind of Caleb Johnson situation where you had a running back in Devin Achane, who was just had a great season in spite of the line, not because of it. Even he was in a boot before the end of the season.
Yeah, when the line was healthy, though, they did good things. I think it's much more a Jimbo architecture and misevaluation of Haynes King and Max Johnson.
Yeah. Absolutely. You can't chalk the whole thing up to injuries, but we do need to at least start there.
Sure.
It is definitely deeper than that. Injuries certainly did not help. A&M did a good job getting the most out of that rushing attack. I want to give credit where it's due. As the year wore on, they were not good to start the year. But even despite the injuries, they were able to, I think, get to like 40th nationally in terms of their success rates on the ground. Devin Achane's stats don't really do him justice. We called him out at our live show in Atlanta. I just want to circle
He's
back
a hero. He's absolutely heroic. Yeah.
Beyond the injury thing, though, Stu Mandel, our friend from The Athletic, said it best in a tweet or in an article. I forget what it was back in September. He says, Jimbo's got the 5-star recruits. He's got the defense. His offense is stuck in 2013. And this time there's no Jameis Winston to bail him out. And that has been the story for Jimbo for a while now, not just this past season, but adaptability has been the ongoing problem. It really came to a head this year, though. Mm-hmm. One example, Jimbo stated that he wants to run more up-tempo. He said it somewhere. He wants to run 70 to 80 plays a game. You know how many plays they ran in the loss to App State? I take a guess.
51.
38.
Not good enough.
38. And the thing is, they've got the players if they want to go more up-tempo.
Yeah.
But they have just chosen to not adjust, to not play that style of offense. And I don't know why. Maybe I need to read more as to the rationale there, but Jimbo said it. They just haven't really done it. The bigger picture here is that Jimbo, as Stu alluded, is running a very old system. They built, they released, they retired a whole version of the PlayStation in the time that Jimbo's been running the same damn offense.
We're juggling the 7 placemats of plays in front of him with the reading glasses. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. This is a system that has not emphasized quick reads for quarterbacks, for new quarterbacks to the system. It has not emphasized big plays. It has not allowed the athleticism of all those 5 stars to shine in any appreciable way.
Yeah.
Just as an example, right? Haynes King, big deal coming out of high school, right? Haynes King, we talked to Sam Kahn Jr. from The Athletic, talked about the appreciation that Jimbo had for Haynes King and how he really felt like he got it. Haynes King was 13 of 20 for 97 yards against App State He dropped back 24 times. He was pressured only 3 of them. Blitzed approximately 0. They didn't blitz him at all.
Mm-hmm. Why would you?
Fumbled twice. 97 yards passing. So what does that tell me? That tells me too much is going on.
Why you got to talk about old stuff, Ty? Why you got to talk about old stuff? Yeah.
No, this is why. There's too much going on. Too much going on. He didn't adjust the offense to Haynes King. And as a result, you get lines like that. He ran it for 27 yards. Okay, he was over 100 total. But he's just not making the most out of the talent that he's got on hand. And that's not to say Haynes King is going to be all-world everything at his next stop. But clearly, he left a lot out there. What happened, what I think Jimbo is trying to do to fix this, and I give him credit because for a good long time he was stubborn and he didn't change, and now he's basically fired himself as offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
He hired Bobby Petrino, which,
yep.
Okay, among other things.
Mr. Stable.
Among many other things, Bobby Petrino was known for being a good offensive mind, and he also was known for being adaptable.
Sure.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is a guy who coached both Lamar Jackson and Brian Brom. I can't imagine 2 quarterbacks that are more different in terms of skill set.
I was thinking you were going to say Ryan Mallett, but continue. I was like, Ryan Mallett and Lamar Jackson, quite different. Yeah.
Yeah, but in almost all cases, the quarterbacks have been very successful.
Yeah.
In his system. And he has been good at organizing around the skill sets of players to make an offense hum, not vice versa. So, whereas I am not at all confident on the Iowa side, I am pretty confident on this one. I don't think Bobby Petrino is a role model. I don't think young coaches should aspire to be Bobby Petrino. But I think Bobby Petrino makes sense for a variety of reasons at A&M. And I am very optimistic that he can turn this thing around pretty quickly.
See, I'm confident in the framing, but not the insulation, right?
Okay. Fair.
I am confident in the offensive roster. Look, you have a team besieged by the flu late in the year, right? No. You have a defense missing key guys, a bunch of freshmen on both sides of the ball, suspension, and rumors of smoking pot in the locker room or whatever, and then 25 portal guys total. Completely, it seems to me, misleading number. A misleading number because they lose some key guys. I think they lost a corner in Smoke Bowie to Georgia, Denver Harris, but a lot of the guys, Anthony Lucas, who was a big-time recruit, he's over to USC to play defensive line, but a lot of the guys they lose in the portal were not necessarily big contributors. And whether they were suspended this past year as freshmen, whether they were recruited by another assistant coach, whatever, it was not an avalanche of, they lost these 7 key dudes on offense to the portal. It wasn't that. And so I'm with you. Again, the framing is there. The insulation is what I'm worried about, just because you're talking about a still relatively inexperienced quarterback, Evan Stewart, who has All-American caliber potential, an offensive line that has a good amount of talent in front of it when healthy, and they obviously up front, especially on the inside, collapsed last year due to injury, that when you bring that back with, at least on the field, in the booth, a very, very good offensive mind in Bobby Petrino, now in a role that's kind of new, right? No. That he has to defer to a head coach, and he is not the guy. That's different and that's new. Obviously, we know every situation with Bobby Petrino kind of ends the same combustible way. But there's every reason to believe with how Moose Muhammad played last year, but then he is wearing an armband and is suspended or something. There's always something. Wow. The defense should be very good. It should be another situation where the offense needs to be merely fine. It needs to go for more 4th and 3s in plus territory. When you're on the 41 and it's 4th and 2, get a quick screen Evan Stewart. See what he can do. See if he's 2.5 yard capable. I cannot stress enough that there is. I mean, look, the recruiting class coming in includes the number 1 running back in the country, Reuben Owens. A top linebacker. So. Look, they lose a couple key pieces in the secondary, but with DJ Durkin, again, on the field, excellent defensive mind. Let's limit it to that for this specific discussion.
Sure.
Uses players in interesting ways, runs like the 3-2-6 and, almost all of that vaunted defensive class from the year before, headlined by Walter Nolan. Now they bring in the number one defensive lineman in the country and David Hicks. There should be depth there. There should be anger. There should be tackling. There should be pressure. This should be a team. Should be.
Qualified.
That's why I say frame. Yep. Frame, but not necessarily frame and foundation, but not necessarily insulation and tile and cabinets. It should be a team that looks closer to what they look like because of Connor Weigman, because of a fresh start, what they look like against LSU than what they look like in the previous 11 games. Yeah. We hope, we presume, we can see how that's the case. But football seasons seem to be won in the off season, seem to be won in locker rooms. And that's the problem right now with Texas A&M. It's getting everybody on the same page. It's getting everybody bought in. It's getting the culture right. It's getting basics right in terms of what the vision is for the offense. I'm extremely cautiously optimistic that A&M is going to take a nice step forward this year. Without their schedule in front of me, mind you.
Yeah, I feel reasonably confident that it will be better on offense.
Okay.
I feel reasonably confident on that front.
Okay, fair enough. They seem to be in a good place on defense and should continue to be.
And the recruiting is strong. The recruiting remains strong.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, they've got so much to work with. It is a situation where if you're an A&M fan and you're looking in and saying, "Wow, okay, we were nicked up 2 straight years, but to not make a bowl, to lose to App State, no disrespect to App State,
right?
Man, just can't help but feel underwhelmed by that. I don't know.
They're another one of those teams that magic number was 30, right? That they weren't really able to crack until the very end of the year against a Power 5 school. They score 30 against Auburn instead of 10. Great. They score 30 against Florida instead of 24. Well, they still lose, but it looks a little bit better. They score 30 or 31 or 32 against Ole Miss. They win that game. Ole Miss scores 31. They score 30-31 against South Carolina. They win that game. They score 30 against Alabama. They win that game. And so they have the capability on paper with 2x4s in lumber, in drywall. It's just everything else, putting it all together to build a winning house. So that's why I still worry. But yeah, the bar seems relatively low, and getting, again, all those placemats and pamphlets and reading glasses out of Jimbo Fisher's arms, I think is going to be a nice step forward.
It's a lot of pro style stuff that they've been running. We'll see what Petrino can do if he can move things.